My cousin booked a $150,000 wedding using my name, my company, and my reputation. And when the bride showed up at my office 3 weeks before the ceremony, crying because there was no venue, no flowers, no photographer, and no cake, I was sitting there with a cup of coffee, wondering who she was. That is not an exaggeration. That is a Tuesday. My name is Isabel Morales. Everyone calls me Izzy. I am a wedding planner, not the kind who shows up with a clipboard and a dream. I am the kind who has a master's in hospitality management, a commercial liability policy thick enough to stop a bullet, and a 10-year reputation built on the fact that nothing goes wrong on my watch. I have planned weddings in hurricane zones. I have sourced peonies in February. I have talked a bride's father out of a fistfight with the groom's uncle using nothing but a lowered voice and a well-timed glass of water. Company is small. It is called Momento Perfecto. We do 12 weddings a year. Not because we can't do more, but because I refuse to do them badly. My clients are not always wealthy, but they are always serious. They trust me with the most expensive, most photographed, most emotionally loaded day of their lives, and I have never betrayed that trust. My cousin Sophia is 3 years younger and a professional opportunist. She has been a barista, a travel blogger, a life coach, and for 6 months, a cryptocurrency consultant. She has never held any of these jobs long enough to file taxes. She is magnetic in the way that tornadoes are magnetic. You can't look away, and by the time you realize you should run, your roof is already gone. Sophia was evicted from her apartment last spring. She called my mother, who called my aunt, who called me. The family telephone tree of guilt. Sophia needed a place to stay for just a few weeks while she landed a big opportunity. I said yes. I always said yes. I gave her my guest room, the one with the good light and the Memorafoam mattress. I gave her a key. I gave her access to my home office so she could help with social media while she got back on her feet. I was grateful, honestly. Sophia was fun. She posted reels of my table settings that got 10,000 views. She made my work look effortless and glamorous. She told me I was too modest, that I should be charging double, that I was sitting on a gold mine and mining it with a teaspoon. I believe she was helping me grow. In reality, she was studying the mine shaft so she could steal the gold. The bride who walked into my office was named Victoria Ashford. She was 26, elegant, and shaking so hard she could barely hold her phone. She pulled up an email chain on her screen and showed me a contract. It was from Momento Perfecto. It had my logo, my business address, my signature at the bottom, and it promised a wedding at the old Meridian estate with a 12-piece orchestra, a Michelin-starred caterer, and a floral installation that cost more than my first car. The total was $150,000. The deposit, paid 6 months ago, was $75,000. I had never seen this contract. I asked Victoria how she had found me. She said a friend of a friend had recommended the most exclusive planner in the city. She had filled out an inquiry form on my website. Sophia had been the one who answered it. She had used my business email, my title, and my credentials. She had met Victoria at a coffee shop and presented herself as my creative director and co-founder. She had shown Victoria a portfolio of my weddings, claiming she had designed them. She had negotiated the price, and she had sent the contract through my DocuSign account. I pulled up my DocuSign history. There it was, executed, signed by Isabel Morales. The timestamp was 11:47 p.m. on a Thursday. I had been asleep. The IP address was my home Wi-Fi. I felt my blood turn to static. I called Sophia. She didn't answer. I texted her. She sent back a string of emojis, a bride, a champagne bottle, a winking face, and wrote, "Surprise. I closed the big fish for us. You're welcome." I didn't write back. I drove home. She was on the couch painting her toenails, watching a reality show about housewives screaming at each other in restaurants. She looked up and smiled like I was bringing her takeout. "Izzy, did Victoria call? Isn't she amazing? Her father is basically royalty in this town." I laid the contract on the coffee table. "You signed my name. You took $75,000. You promised her a wedding I know nothing about." She waved her hand, still watching the television. "I promised her your expertise, which she'll get. You'll just plan it like you always do. I did the sales part, you do the boring part. That's what partnership means. We are not partners," I said. My voice was barely above a whisper. "You are not licensed. You are not insured. You forged my signature." She finally looked at me. "Not guilty, annoyed, forged. Please, I have access to your email. I have your DocuSign login. You gave me the password, remember, for the Instagram help? Legally, that's authorization. Ask any lawyer." I hadn't given her my DocuSign password. She had watched me log in months ago over my shoulder. She had remembered it. She had waited. I told her to fix it, to call Victoria, to admit what she had done and return the money. Sophia laughed, actually laughed. "Return it." "Izzy, I used it. The deposit on the venue was non-refundable." Well, it would have been if I had actually booked it. I paid off my credit cards, I bought a car. I invested in myself. I stood there, staring at a person I had shared Christmas dinners with since I was 4 years old, and I realized I was looking at a stranger who had been wearing my cousin's face. I called my mother. I called my aunt. I drove to my parents' house and I laid out the documents the way I lay out wedding timelines, with color-coded tabs and a timeline of fraud. My mother read the contract in silence. My aunt picked at her cuticles. When I finished, my aunt said, "Sophia was just trying to contribute. She's been so lost." This gave her confidence. My mother touched my hand. "Izzy, you have so many clients, can't you just do this wedding for Victoria? It would fix everything. Sophia gets the credit for bringing her in, you get the money, the family stays peaceful." I looked at her. She spent the deposit. There's no money and there are 3 weeks left. My father, who had been reading the newspaper, folded it. "You're the professional here. If you let this ruin Sophia's life over signature, you're choosing pride over family." Pride. They were calling my name, my company, my decade of work a vanity. I went back to my apartment. Sophia was gone. She had taken her new car and left a note on the counter. "Don't be dramatic. I'll pay you back when I land my next deal." Zoe, for 2 days I tried to fix it myself. I called Victoria and explained, haltingly, that there had been a miscommunication within my company. Victoria's voice went from confusion to ice. She said her mother was Judge Elena Vargas. She said they had already paid the final installment. She said her wedding was in 21 days, and if I ruined it, she would make sure no one in the city ever hired me again. I sat in my office at midnight, surrounded by binders of other people's perfect days, and I felt something crack. Not my heart, my compass. The part of me that always pointed toward forgiveness. Then I found the messages. Sophia had borrowed my laptop 2 weeks earlier to update my website. She had forgotten to sign out of her cloud messages. They synced to my desktop, a group chat called The Hustle. Sophia, her boyfriend Marcus, and a woman named Tasha I didn't know. Sophia, Izzy found out about Victoria. She's doing her usual panic spiral, so predictable. Marcus, is she going to sue? Sophia, Izzy, sue family, never. She's too busy being the professional to get her hands dirty. She'll cry, she'll lecture, and then she'll plan the wedding herself to save the reputation. That's what she does. She cleans up. Tasha, what if she calls the cops? Sophia, let her. I didn't steal anything. I used resources she left lying around. If anything, she's negligent. That's her brand. Negligent and boring. Meanwhile, I closed a $150K deal in one lunch. That's talent. Then the one that burned. Honestly, the best part is watching her try to explain to mommy that her perfect little business isn't so perfect. She's been the golden child for 30 years. Time for a little tarnish. I read it until the words stopped being words and became just shapes. Then I closed the laptop and I called Rebecca Holt. Rebecca is an attorney who specializes in business fraud and identity theft. I had met her at a Chamber of Commerce event. She is sharp, humorless, and deeply uninterested in family therapy. When I told her the story, she asked 3 questions. Do you have the contract? Yes. Do you have proof she accessed your accounts without permission? Yes. Do you have the bank records showing where the money went? I did not yet, but I knew how to get them. We started with the bank. The $7,000 to $5,000 deposit had been wired to an account at a local credit union. The account holder was Sophia Morales. The wire transfer had been initiated from my business account. The authorization signature was mine. But the IP address matched Sophia's phone. The timestamp was 2:14 a.m. I had been in bed. Rebecca subpoenaed the credit union records. Sophia had withdrawn the money in increments. $20,000 to a dealership for a used Lexus. $15,000 to a landlord for 6 months rent on a luxury apartment. $12,000 to a cryptocurrency exchange. The rest had been spent on restaurants, clothes, and a vacation to Tulum that she had posted about while I was trying to explain to Victoria why her wedding didn't exist. Then DocuSign. Rebecca obtained the audit trail. The signature was mine, but the device was a laptop registered to Sophia. The location services showed it had been signed from a coffee shop 3 blocks from my apartment at 11:47 p.m. I had a credit card receipt from a gas station across town at 11:38 p.m. I couldn't have been in both places. Then the emails. Rebecca hired a digital forensics expert. He recovered deleted messages from my business account. Sophia had been corresponding with Victoria for 4 months. She had promised things I would never promise. Fireworks, a celebrity DJ, a release of white doves that was not only illegal in the city but also deeply unethical. She had been playing a character named Izzy Morales, and she had made that character reckless, extravagant, and cruel. Rebecca sent a formal demand letter to Sophia: return the funds in 72 hours, or face civil suit and criminal referral for wire fraud. identity theft, and forgery. Sophia responded by posting a video on social media. She was sitting in her new apartment, wearing sunglasses indoors. She said that family businesses are complicated and that some people can't handle a little creative entrepreneurship. She said I was trying to steal her client and that she was the real visionary behind Momento Perfecto. The video got 4,000 views before Rebecca had it preserved as evidence. My family called. My aunt said I was destroying Sophia's future. My mother said I was making us a laughingstock. My father said, she's blood, Izzy. Blood. I said she stole my blood type and sold it. We filed the civil suit. We filed the criminal complaint with the district attorney's office. And then Rebecca did something I didn't expect. She called Victoria Ashford. Victoria was furious. She was also meticulous. She had kept every email, every invoice, every promise. She had a spreadsheet. When Rebecca showed her the forensics report, the fake signature, the stolen credentials, the fact that Sophia had never booked a single vendor, Victoria's anger shifted direction. It was surgical. 3 days later, I received a call from Judge Alina Vargas herself. She did not yell. Judges do not need to yell. She said, Miss Morales, my daughter is devastated, but I have reviewed the evidence your attorney provided. I have also reviewed my daughter's correspondence with the individual pretending to be you. I want you to know that I have submitted a formal statement to the district attorney's office. I will testify if necessary, and I will be issuing a public clarification that your company was the victim of fraud, not the perpetrator. I thanked her. She said, don't thank me. Correct the record. That's all I ask. Sophia was arrested at her apartment 2 weeks later. The charge was wire fraud and identity theft. Marcus, her boyfriend, had found out about the criminal complaint and decided he didn't want to be named as a co-conspirator. He told detectives that Sophia had bragged to him about hacking Izzy's business and that she had called me too stupid to check her own accounts. He returned the Lexus. It was still in his name. The dealership, upon learning the down payment was proceeds of fraud, voided the sale and returned the money to the court. The landlord evicted Sophia for misrepresentation. The cryptocurrency was gone, of course, but Rebecca placed liens on everything else. The civil trial was brief. Sophia didn't show up for the first hearing. The judge entered a default judgment for full restitution, plus damages for reputational harm, plus my legal fees. The total was $112,000. Sophia declared bankruptcy, but the fraud judgment was non-dischargeable. She will be paying me in garnishments for the next 20 years. Victoria's wedding happened eventually, not at the old Meridian estate, not with the doves, but it happened. She hired me, the real me, to plan it. A small, exquisite ceremony in her parents' garden. She said she wanted to see what I could do with truth instead of illusion. It was beautiful. I did not charge her my full fee. My parents came to that wedding. They watched me work. They saw Victoria's mother, the judge, embrace me at the end of the night and tell her guests that I had the kind of integrity you can't buy. My mother cried. My father was quiet. My aunt did not speak to me for a year. Then she sent a card. It said, I didn't know she was lying to us too. I kept it. I didn't write back. Some acknowledgments are enough. Sophia works at a call center now. She sells extended warranties. She tells her coworkers that her cousin destroyed her life because she was too successful. I don't know if she believes it. I don't care. I rebuilt Momento Perfecto. I changed every password. I installed two-factor authentication on everything, including my dreams. I hired an actual employee, a quiet woman named Grace who files things on time and never calls herself my partner. My business is smaller now, more careful, but it is mine. Every signature, every contract, every promise. If you are watching this and you are the one who built the thing, who stayed late, who checked the details, who made the name mean something, let me tell you what I learned in a courtroom and in a garden full of honest flowers. Your name is not a family resource. Your reputation is not a group project. And the people who love you will not ask you to set yourself on fire to keep them warm. If they do, that is not love. That is arson. I spent years believing that being the capable one meant being the inexhaustible one, that being good at something meant being available to everyone who wanted to borrow it. Sophia didn't just steal my money. She stole the part of me that thought saying no was a moral failure. It is not. Saying no is how you keep the yes real. I am Izzy Morales. I plan weddings, I keep promises, and I no longer lend the keys to my own house.